it works.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. 6:45 public hearing. Are these on? I don't think so. They are? Okay. Ordinance appropriating an amount not to exceed $1.5 million into the Capital Improvement Fund for fiscal year 2022-2023 for the purchase of and improvements to properties located at 12 Brixton Street and 705 Oakwood Avenue in West Hartford, and authorizing the issuance of bonds of the town in an amount not to exceed $1.5 million to finance the appropriation, and pending the issuance thereof of temporary borrowings for such purpose. Roll call.
Is that mic working?
I didn't think it was, but he said it. Here we go. The button's on. Here we go. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I could hear something.
Testing? Testing? Testing?
No.
Take yours off.
Can you hear that?
Testing?
But do you hear that
Yes.
back there?
Testing. 1, 2.
Okay. I don't think yours is working. Yep. Testing. Is that working? Okay, we're gonna go roll call. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Okay.
think so.
I'll begin roll call with Councilor Blanks,
Present.
Mayor Cantor,
Here.
Councilor Cortez,
Here.
Councilor Davidoff,
Here.
Councilor Fay,
Here.
Councilor Poland,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sweeney,
Here.
Councilor Winograd, and Councilor Zandanowitz.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nadia. Okay, we will go to the presentation.
Thank you, Madam
Mr.
Mayor.
Whiteman.
It doesn't sound like mine's working.
I know,
Yeah.
Can you hear it out there?
Testing, testing.
Testing.
Can you hear? No?
Can you hear that? Yeah.
How about this one?
This one's working.
Testing, testing, testing. No?
This one's
Testing,
working.
testing. Testing. All right, we will.
Mine works. Hello? Yeah.
It's just not going up here.
Is it going on?
And the question is
Can you hear
it should
that?
be.
Okay.
Can the audience hear? No.
We lean over on Rick's shoulder and, okay, presentation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Town Council, the purpose of this evening's public hearing is to discuss the ordinance appropriating an amount not to exceed $1.5 million into the Capital Improvement Fund for the purchase of properties adjacent to our Department of Public Works complex, 12 Brixton Street and 705 Oakwood Avenue, and authorizing the issuance of bonds of the town in an amount not to exceed $1.5 million to finance the appropriation. By way of background, on July 14th, 2022, the Town Council authorized the town manager to execute a contract for the purchase of 705 Oakwood and 12 Brixton, and appropriated $136,000 to fund a deposit in the amount of $65,750 and to engage in professional service providers such as legal services, appraisal services, and environmental testing totaling $71,000. The town has completed its due diligence, and I'm recommending that the town council approve the purchase of both properties. The resolution seeking authorization to purchase the properties is on tonight's agenda for the council's consideration. The purpose of this ordinance is to appropriate monies and issue bonds sufficient to purchase the properties, to fund the administrative, legal, and financing costs of the transaction, and to meet the limited property expenses anticipated after closing. The purchase price is $1,235,000. The cost to close the transaction will be approximately $12,000. The cost to make temporary improvements to the property is approximately $20,000 to $25,000. And the cost of bond issuance is unknown at this time and will be determined at the bond sale. The bonds will be issued in the town's annual bond sale in February of 2024. The proceeds from the bond sale will be used to reimburse the town for the funds it expended to purchase the property in 2023. In the event that we use less than the $1.5 million, we will come back to the council and deauthorize the balance of the appropriation. For example, if we spend $1.4 million on the purchase, we would come back to the council and deauthorize $100,000. That is the purpose of tonight's public hearing. Pause there and see if there's any questions from the council.
I don't know if this is working, but, okay. Thank you very much. Before we can ask council questions, but have we, Madam Clerk, have we received any written comments?
We have not, Madam
Okay,
Mayor.
there have been no written comments. Let's just see if there's any public comment. Okay, no one has signed up. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to this public hearing? Okay, so we will go to any questions from the council. Are there any questions from the council? We have discussed this before, so this is not new to us, and this is kind of the final step in the process that we expected, so there's no surprises from the council. All right, I'm going around looking around the board again. Any questions? No? Okay. If there are no questions, I don't know if there are any further comments from staff. We're all set?
So we actually have, so this ordinance is for the bond issuance. There's also a resolution to authorize the purchase, so we'll have a presentation at that point during the council meeting.
Okay, very good. All right, and with that, I think we close the public hearing. Seeing no objection, public hearing is closed. And we will begin the next public hearing. So we're almost on schedule. Yes, 7 o'clock. 1 minute, actually, we have to wait. We've all been there.
I would have.
Panic.
I would have if I didn't vote red.
Oh, man.
You were selling houses. It's hard work. Oh, yeah.
Is it messy?
No, it's something in Litchfield.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, we are now at 7 o'clock. We will call the 7 p.m. public hearing to order. This is an application filed on behalf of Blueback Partners and Charter Realty Development Corp., owners and managing partners of Special Development District Number 113, also known as Blueback Square. The application requests an amendment to the existing Special Development District design guidelines to create a new standard for freestanding shade structures. Roll call, Ms. Khan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll begin the roll call with Councilor Blanks.
Present.
Mayor Cantor.
Here.
Councilor Cortez.
Here.
Councilor Davidoff.
Here.
Councilor Fay. Councilor Poland. Here. Deputy Mayor Sweeney. Here. Councilor Winograd.
Here.
And Councilor Zandanowits.
Here.
Thank you very much. We will begin with a presentation from Blueback, and please introduce yourself.
I will. So good evening. My name is John Ireland, like the country. I'm with Charter Realty, and my role is design and construction. So we have a brief presentation tonight. This is an amendment or an addition to the current Special Development District 113 to add freestanding structures. So, and I appreciate the use of the laptop. I'm glad it's not flickering. So, 15 years ago, there were design guidelines set up, and so this is an amendment to that to add these freestanding structures. We are finding that restaurants in particular, there are three that are focused on this evening. Rosa Mexicana, which is now open. Bucaria, which is a Spanish tapa restaurant, due to open later this year. We're still pinning down that date. Their construction starts soon. And then the other one I think that you know well is Fleming's. So they too have expressed interest in a freestanding shade structure. And we'll talk a little bit more about what that means. So it is similar to the Artisan restaurant across the street in the Delamar, and somewhat similar to Whole Foods and their freestanding structure. So, again, this is an addition. So the sheet that you have in front of you is, we filled up the first sheet, is an additional sheet. And so the idea here is to extend the building out into these shade structures. They'd be freestanding. They'd be as low as that first design band or that sign band. They would be entirely on Blueback Square or on inside the property line and would not project into any of the public ways, sidewalks, streets, etc. They would not have a permanent roof. So this is a shade structure. They could have canvas. They could have some lighting. They could have some decorative plants. We have lighting guidelines in place already, so they would need to follow that. They cannot have logos, signs, or any additional graphics. So this really is an extension of the architecture. So up on the screen is, of course, the Artisan restaurant. It's in the lower right and upper right, and then Whole Foods. Again, two separate SDD districts, and for whatever reason, we don't have this. So we're here tonight to seek your approval to add this to our district. We do already have Town Planning and Zoning Council approval. We also have the architectural, the DRAC approval. And then this evening, we just met with the Heritage Board, and they had no comments. So we presented the same presentation. And with that, I will pause, open it up to questions, and
Thank you, Mr. Ireland. Okay, I'm just going to go to the public comment first. Madam Khan, have you received any written comments?
We have not.
Okay, no written comments. Are there anybody signed up to speak? No? Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak to this public hearing? No. So we can go to questions from the council. Are there any questions? Mr. Winograd.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. So just one question. You mentioned the three restaurants. Are we talking about potentially having it for others, or is this limited to those three?
yes. So when the guideline is, if the guideline is approved, that it would apply to anybody. They would still have to go through an SDD approval process. So everything through the process, as well as get a building permit. So which then also requires town planning and zoning sign off.
So you're saying that even after, if we approve this, you still would have to go for
Yes.
an STD?
Yes. So this simply adds this guideline to the freestanding structures, the exterior amenities.
But it doesn't actually prove any particular.
Exactly. I
okay.
mention those, not to be confusing, but I mention those because there is a request. In fact, some of them have already gotten their drawings ready. And we suspect there may be more. For instance, Cheesecake is right across from Rosa. They may or may not elect to do this. But yes, there's already an interest, and I think So tonight is just to approve the guidelines.
Thank you. And that was actually the exact restaurant I was thinking about, was the question of whether if we had it on both sides, does that start, can't really picture it, but, if Cheesecake had it and Rosa did, does it start becoming sort of a corridor in between, as there is now? But, so just, I'm not judging that, but so if that came forward, it would still have to go through DRAC and everyone to decide whether or not that was appropriate to have it on both sides.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And again, the scale is very, very important, and the guidelines say it has to be human scaled. In other words, you keep it under that sign band, which is roughly in the 15-foot range, plus or minus. So these are not large structures.
Thank you. And I should have gone through you, Mayor. I
Thank you.
apologize for that. But
No, that's
got into
fine.
it.
Ms. Winograd, just to follow up on Mr. Winograd's question, though, that would not come back to the council, though. Once we approve the guidelines, it then goes through the normal approval process, but not back to us. So just to make that clear, right? Okay. Other questions? Ms. Blanks?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So my question is similar to Councilor Winograd in terms of the space that you referred to in terms of whether it's the, pergola or whatever awning, opposed to the sidewalk space, and using Rosa Mexicana as well as Cheesecake for an example, because on the sidewalk space, it does seem like there's a tight space. So you said the regulatory amount of space is how much, and then what's the amount of space for sidewalk walk space?
So I think the best way to answer that is these are not allowed in the public walkway. The public walkway being associated with the street, in that case, Isham or Isham. It's nowhere near that. It's inboard. Between those two structures, there is a walkway. And I think visually, I think Cheesecake has taken theirs down, but they have gates or fencing up. So it will remain within the fencing, and then the walkway remains open. So we're sensitive to that too. In other words, it's not intended to overtake any of the other spaces. So, is that?
Thank you. Any further questions? Okay. Would like to read in for the record, letter dated January 6th, as mentioned, 2023 from Town Plan and Zoning Commission recommending approval. Letter dated January 17th, 2023 from the Design Review Advisory Committee recommending approval. If there's no further questions or comments, the public hearing is now closed, and we have 20 minutes until our council meeting. So, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
The battery on that computer just died, too.
All right, 1 minute.
Hurry up, Pat. Come on, we're waiting for you. All right.
Well, my alarm's going to go off at 7:30. Okay.
I used to have a lot of customers up there from Elk and stuff. I'd go up.
All right. What? Okay. Mary, can you hear us? Okay, great. All right, we're calling the January 24th Town Council meeting to order. We'll begin with a Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Ms. Khan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll begin with Counselor
Okay, thank you, Mary.
Counselor Blanks,
Present.
Mayor Cantor,
Here.
Counselor Cortez,
Here.
Counselor Davidoff,
Here.
Counselor Fay, Counselor Poland. Here. Deputy Mayor Sweeney. Counselor Winograd. Here. And Counselor Zandanowits.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will take the point of privilege with what has transpired in our country over the last just a couple of days with the shootings. After the Monterey Park shooting, I was listening to a report that this was the 33rd mass shooting, which is defined by 4 people shot, either injured or killed, in the United States in 2023. And then by the time I was preparing to look today, there now are 39 mass shootings. So it is beyond. And I actually read something that Dan Rather wrote, and I just want to share it with you, and then we'll just have a moment of silence. Again, morning headlines of mourning. This is actually "Awakening to Tragedy" by Dan Rather, and this was after Monterey Park. And then since then, I'll just go. It's been most recent to. Right after Monterey Park. Chicago, 2 dead, 3 injured. Half Moon, California, 7 dead, 1 injured. Oakland, California, 1 dead, 7 injured. Robbinsville, Mississippi, 4 injured. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 12 injured. Shreveport, Louisiana, 8 injured. And then, of course, Monterey now, 12 dead, 9 injured. So, again, it starts again. Morning headlines of mourning. A night of violence and loss. A dawn that brings no comfort. Our national map of tragedy has a new place in which we stick a pin of pain. We see once more what happens when instruments of mass death are untethered from any semblance of logical restrictions. As always, there are new names to learn of people who will never hear their names again. All that life snuffed out in an instant. The press will publish old pictures of smiling faces eulogized. Motives? As if any will be justified or bring peace to the families now torn apart and bloodshed. We repeat and repeat and repeat these tragedies as if we are powerless to address them, but there are answers and ideas that go unheeded. Our politics don't allow progress. Mass shootings are part of our American identity. Meanwhile, a lesser volume of death simmers unremarkably below the surface. Lives cut short in tallies of 1 or 2. Often the victims know the killers, and often the violence is self-inflicted, a permanent end to mental anguish. Once again, we await more information. There will be press conferences, maybe an arrest, and even a trial. We also know there will be another such story that will crest upon the headlines, only to disappear, except for those who have no choice but to live its consequences daily, again and again and again. And now we'll have a moment of silence. Thank you. I know we can do better. Okay. Let's see. Public forum. Is there anybody signed up to speak to? something that is not the public of a subject of a public hearing. There are, this is the public comment section. If there is anything on the agenda that you would like to speak to that has not been the subject of a public hearing. Seeing none, we will go to consent calendar. Mr. Sweeney.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Without objection, I move that items 5A, 5B, 7C through 7N, and 10A be placed on the consent calendar.
Is there any objection? Hearing no objection, the items are placed on consent. Mr. Sweeney.
Madam Mayor, without objection, I move the adoption of the consent calendar.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We will go to number 6, Mr. Sweeney.
Yes. Madam Mayor, I move adoption of item 6A, the application on file on behalf of Blueback Capital Partners and Charter Realty.
Second.
A motion's been made and seconded. This was the subject of a public hearing immediately prior to this council meeting, although there was a gap because it was so efficient. And Mr. Ireland presented on behalf of Charter Realty. This is something we have seen in our in the area of Blueback Square, but had not been implemented in Blueback Square and their guidelines. And so that is what we are voting on now. So are there any comments or questions from the council? There's so much focus on outdoor dining that I do think these structures will assist and help the restaurants define a sense of space as well as provide shade when the sun ever decides to come back out again. So, all right. If there's no other comments or questions.
May I
Yes, Ms. Fay?
Yes, so, I'm down in Florida for a labor of love, but I've been going around here. These structures and shade environments are prevalent here, and they absolutely add to the quality of life for dining establishments as well as patrons. So I think it's great that we're going to implement this, so thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fay. All right, if there's no further comments, we will go to a roll call vote. Ms. Khan?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We'll begin with Councilor Blanks.
Yes.
Mayor Cantor.
Yes.
Councilor Cortez.
Yes.
Councilor Davidoff.
Yes.
Councilor Fay.
Yes.
Councilor Poland.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sweeney.
Yes.
Councilor Winograd.
Yes.
And Councilor Zandanowits.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, congratulations, and thank you, Mr. Ireland and Ms. Johnson. Have a good night. They're getting right out of here. All right, we're jealous. No. Letter B, Mr. Sweeney.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Make a motion to adopt the ordinance appropriating the amount not to exceed $1.5 million in the Capital Improvement Fund for the fiscal year 22-23 for the purchase and improvements of properties located at 12 Brixton Street and 705 Oakwood Avenue.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Mr. Ledwith, you want to just review the public
Thank you,
hearing?
Madam Mayor. This was the subject of a earlier public hearing this evening, and this ordinance will authorize the town manager and the director of finance to issue bonds for the purchase of 705 Oakwood Avenue and 12 Brixton Street. There's a resolution coming up next on the agenda where we will discuss, where you will authorize the purchase of that property.
Okay, thank you very much. Any discussion? All right, we will go to roll call. Ms. Khan?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I will begin with Councilor Blanks.
Yes.
Mayor Cantor.
Yes.
Councilor Cortez.
Yes.
Councilor Davidoff.
Yes.
Councilor Fay.
Yeah.
Councilor Poland.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sweeney.
Yes.
Councilor Winograd. Yes. And Councilor Zandanowits.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now to C, Mr. Sweeney.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, I make a motion to adopt the resolution authorizing the purchase of properties located at 12 Brixton Street and 705 Oakwood Avenue.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Mr. Ledwith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The acquisition of this property, as we've discussed in the past, would provide us with a very unique opportunity to add to its current Public Works campus by adding these two properties that are directly across the street from Public Works, providing us with the flexibility to better serve our community in two important ways. One being emergency preparedness, Because of the current composition of our campus, we would be inadequately prepared to meet the needs of our community from a material and debris management standpoint. You may remember that we had been utilizing the former Yukon property to transfer townwide debris and material during and after storms. But that property, as we know, is now owned by a private developer and is no longer available to the town. The purchase of this land would also allow us to relocate our animal control shelter and our fire training facility across the street to these two properties. We could also potentially place our new fueling station in this location as well as other public works equipment. The second important reason for this expansion of DPW's campus is to allow us to better meet the waste management needs of our community. As our council knows, we are in the beginning stages of the development of a materials solutions center that would be located on the current DPW site. So the Animal Control Center and the fire training facility would likely be relocated to 705 Oakwood and 12 Brixton, freeing up more space for the Materials Solutions Center. Back in July, the original purchase price of the two properties was $1,315,000. Since then, we had an independent appraisal performed by Galvin Appraisal Services. The results of this appraisal indicated that the value of the combined properties was $1.1 million. Through further negotiations with the owner, we mutually agreed to reduce the purchase price to $1,235,000. A review of the title to the property revealed only two areas of interest. First, an unused parking lot that serviced the adjacent property owner encroaches on the subject property by about 20 feet by 200 feet, running along the back of the Brixton property. This encroachment will not affect the town's ability to construct anything on the property, and the town will ultimately remove it during construction. In the short term, we will install a fence to keep vehicles from parking there. Second, the properties are subject to an easement for railroad sidetracks from the properties to the main line owned by the New York, New Haven, and Hartford Railroad Company. These easements have been in place since 1931, and based upon our survey, would not interfere with the town's intended use of the property. The railroad lines have not been active for many decades. The town engaged an environmental consultant to examine Phase 1 site assessments and Phase 2 subsurface investigations of the properties. Additionally, the consultant reviewed all of the public records that were generated after the completion of the prior reports. The examination and evaluation of the site did not reveal any significant areas of concern such that the purchase of the property would not be recommended. At this point, I'll pause and turn it back to the council for any questions. We have our Director of Public Works, Mr. Phillips, here with us this evening as well, and John can join us at the podium to help with any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ledwith. I'm actually going to go to Mr. Winograd if you would like to kind of start. I know this is in your committee and
Thank you.
been a focus.
So no questions, but I do just want to point out we all got the opportunity to tour the facilities and go on site with our golf carts. And we should do more of that type of thing. That was fun. But that's right. But we've all heard, John's expertise on the expansion of the function of his department and the need for more space. Absolutely, he can use it. What he can't use, I'm sure we can find other departments. He's being very generous about offering up space to public safety, particularly. But again, I think we were all able to see how well this fits in with the land we have now and the continuing needs for waste management and other functions. So certainly. I'm sure that no objection on this council that will pass this, but also just let the public know this is a really good purchase and one that will help the town be more efficient in the services it provides. So thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Winograd. And Mr. Davidoff.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to thank Mr. Phillips, Corporation Counsel, Mr. Ledwith, and others who worked on bringing this to our attention. This is basically a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to purchase a property that is adjacent and abuts our Public Works garage and our waste management facility. And while, the council doesn't really usually take the path of spending money on property acquisition unless it really makes sense. And in this case, it makes a lot of sense because the needs are only going to grow greater with respect to waste management. And I do think that this is going to be a very forward-thinking way to interact for those services and as well as the services that Mr. Winograd alluded to. I'd also like to thank my colleague, Mr. Cortez, for being my golf cart driver during the tour. He did a great job, and as evidenced, we're both still here this evening to vote on this. But in all seriousness, this is what makes our community stand out amongst all the others in Connecticut. We're constantly looking for solutions that will fit long-term problems that the community may face. So for all those reasons, I'll be voting in support of the resolution.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. David. Ms. Blanks.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
I was after you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I too just want to commend town staff for all the hard work that they did in terms of putting this together, but especially to Mr. Phillips because he is a hard-working professional who's always thinking ahead, forward-thinking, but most important is the relationship of being a good neighbor. So it speaks a lot in terms of being able to pull this deal together and bringing it to the attention of the manager and the council because there's this old saying that you have to strike the iron when it's hot and not wait because if you wait, you'll miss the opportunity and it'll end up costing us more money. So I just want to say thank you for being that good neighbor and developing those good relationships with the neighbors that surround us. But this is a great opportunity. I did not have the pleasure of participating on the field trip because I was otherwise engaged in something else, but I did take the opportunity to just go and visit the site so that I can get a better idea of where it was actually located. And I do visit that area quite often in the summertime, in the spring. So I just think this is a home run for the town, and I will definitely be supporting this.
Thank you, Ms. Blanks. All right, Mr. Zadanovich.
I had to have everyone steal my ideas first, so it sounded like they can get credit for it. But I echo all, and I'm in seriousness, I echo all the things that everyone's saying. And I want to thank Mr. Phillips for his forward-looking forecast. And as a kind of a fiscal conservative guy, I don't like spending money. And there's sometimes where you really need to spend money to make money and be more efficient. And this is one of them. And I think it's a great buy for the town. It makes a lot of sense. And Carol, unfortunately, I feel bad for you, quite honestly, because when I do leave the town council, one of my fondest memories that I can walk away with is our golf cart ride down there, and I'm so sorry you missed it because it was exceptional, and so it was good. But thanks, John. It was a good purchase, and I'm glad we went. I will be voting for it as well.
Thank you, Mr. Zadanovich. Anybody else? Mr. Cortez.
Again, I would like to echo what my colleagues, by thanking Mr. Phillips and town staff. Some of the issues that there's issues that always come up, public safety, the roads, but trash. There's a lot of trash talk in town usually, even going back to the leaf pickup and some of the service that we've had in the past. And this just shows that, this is what makes us stand apart compared to other communities who are shipping their stuff to other towns, and we're looking at ways of making it more efficient. So this shows our commitment to the town. So thank you for again, forward-thinking idea.
Thank you, Mr. Cortez. Anybody else?
Yes, may I?
Yes, please, Ms. Fay.
Yeah, so I've been there many times. I did not go on the tour, unfortunately. I was available, but I have been down there. And I just from a business perspective, I believe consolidation of operations makes a lot of sense. And our public works has been dispersed throughout town, and Mr. Phillips has had to cobble together a few things. And I think having things in one location, you guys never mentioned, but the filling station for the vehicles that we foresee in the future, where they're going to retail gas stations, I think that's a big win too. So I certainly support this, and I think the consolidation of operations in one location totally makes sense. And certainly, we're just fortuitous to have the ability right now to execute on these properties that are right adjacent to the ones that we already have. So I will certainly be supporting this.
Thank you, Ms. Fay. And so, really to close, obviously you've heard that this is a really, or did you want to say? This is a really strategic opportunity for the town, and we really did not want let this to pass by. Unfortunately, I remember Storm Alfred and the steaming pile of debris that our community we collected, and I think about what, we were panicking a little bit. What are we going to do if, God forbid, something happens like that again? And this is not only a smart move to make our town work in the next decade and 2 decades because of the solid waste management, but the emergency preparedness, I can't highlight enough how important this space really is for our community, and if there is an emergency, and there will be, to what extent. So again, I'm really grateful, Mr. Phillips, for your foresight, for the town, for our attorneys back there negotiating the deal. There's a lot of work that goes into purchasing a property for municipal use. This was given a lot of thought and care, and I think the community will benefit for years to come because of this purchase. So, and with that, we will go to a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. All right, D, Mr. Sweeney.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Do you want to, before we go to...
Yeah, so we just read the resolution and then I'll...
Yep, Madam Mayor, I move adoption of the resolution authorizing the execution of a lease with the West Hartford Fellowship Housing Development Corporation of a property located at 10-50 Starkle Road.
And so this is a little bit complicated in our voting because I will note that Councilors Davidoff and Cortez have recused themselves from the public hearing on this matter because they serve on the Board of Directors. Mr. Winograd also served on the Board of Directors but actually resigned prior to the public hearing. And so I just want to make sure that you both are going to recuse yourself from the, Mr. Davidoff?
Madam Mayor, I intend to recuse myself from the deliberation and vote on this resolution.
And Mr. Cortez?
Madam Mayor, I also intend to recuse myself from voting.
Thank you. And Ms. Fay was not present at the public hearing on this matter, so she will also be abstaining from deliberation and vote on this resolution. Correct, Ms. Fay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, so now we go to the deliberation and ultimately the vote. And this is, again, the authorization of a lease with West Hartford Fellowship Housing Development. And this was the subject of the public hearing several weeks ago. So,
Madam Mayor, just need a
Yes.
second for...
Second.
thank you, Ms. Blanks. The motion's been made and seconded. Sorry, a little complicated. Okay. But we do have our core number of counselors that need to vote on this. So, Mr. Ledwith, would you like to review?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This, as you mentioned, this resolution was the subject of a public hearing that was held on January 10th, and will direct the town manager to execute a lease with West Hartford Fellowship Housing Development Corporation for a term not to exceed 99 years for the land and improvements located at 10-50 Starkle Road. As was demonstrated in the public hearing, the redevelopment of the Starkle Road parcel will increase the number of units on this site from 161 to 256. 65 of these units will be offered at 60% of AMI or lower, which offers additional affordable housing options here in town, which, as we discussed when the council recently adopted our affordable housing program, is a significant need here in West Hartford. In addition, the redevelopment will enhance the quality of life for residents living in this development with larger size units, with a campus more amenable to those with disabilities or mobility issues, along with better amenities and technology. I will pause there and turn it back to you, Mayor, for any questions that the council may have.
Thank you, Mr. Ledwith. Are there any questions or comments for the town manager or any, Ms. Blanks?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I know this was a public hearing last time we met, and I did have a question. I know it was for Ms. Claire, and I know she answered the question, but I thought about it after, and I'm wondering if there can be other information provided to tenants in writing if they want to know specifics in terms of if what was said verbally to them, and they need to find more information, like where can that be found, other than, no offense, Claire, just taken for granted that they'll know what to do. A lot of times people don't know that they can go to a particular website and get information, or they may not be tech savvy, so I would just like to state that if something can be simplified for residents to obtain, to seek further information if need be.
Thank you, Ms. Blanks.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councilor Blanks, we will certainly work with the Executive Director, Mr. Grilli, on doing just that. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments or questions? Okay, so this is something that's been a long time coming, and I do want to thank Mr. Grilli. I want to thank Ms. Kindle for her work on this, and on my fellow colleagues that are at the table right now, including Mr. Winograd. This has really been years and years of commitment to get to this point. Piecing together affordable housing projects is not an easy task, and this is. This has been in existence since 1968. The town owns the land, and actually, our Corporation Counsel's office has found this incredibly complicated in making certain governance decisions on this land and certain restrictions. So it's been a very interesting project for sure. But what I think about 55 years ago, our town had the foresight of developing affordable housing primarily for seniors and people with mobility issues in an area in town that was walkable to commerce and also to a bus line. And that was, that's existed for years. Obviously, the outdated facilities, the laundry facilities and separate buildings has become really challenging for so many seniors, especially for those that have mobility issues. So the desire to improve those spaces has been something that the board has wanted to do for a very long time. But again, putting those pieces together has been challenging. This is also something that will not only be for mobility impaired, but also for any disability. So that is also an opportunity, I think, that opens up to people in our community that have maybe been underserved or had difficulties finding places to live. So we are grateful to the state for their partnership in the tax credits that provided the ability to pull all of the financing together, and the tremendous work of this board. And I will say, I know this is a concern. Somebody asked me this. Yes, actually, it was when we were presenting to our rating agencies, and they were talking about the how are displaced residents going to be handled throughout the process, and that has been a really serious concern, not only to the residents but to all of us at the table. And there has been so much planning and phasing in the work and the improvements that people will always have a home, and they won't be displaced, and it will be they will be treated with dignity and respect, and moved in a way that will provide the least disruption in their lives. And so I want to thank you for all that you do for fellowship, and this is going to really be a lifesaver for many residents that are that not only live there, living in much better conditions, but also to new residents that will be able to call this home. So, thank you very much. And with that, we will go to a roll call vote. A voice vote. And remember, we have 3 counselors that are abstaining. So, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations and thank you so much. All right. This is deserves a round of applause. All right. Now we go to a letter number 7, Mr. Sweeney.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, I make a motion to adopt the resolution amending the fiscal year 22-23 budgets of the Community Development Block Grant and the Capital Projects Fund.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Mr. Ledwith?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This particular resolution was discussed at the Human and Community Services Committee meeting and involves a reallocation of Community Development Block Grant funds that we receive from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. These funds support programs identified in the Town of West Hartford Annual Action Plan and 5-year Consolidated Plan. The Kennedy Park Bathhouse is eligible for CDBG funding, and when we went out to bid for this project, the bids came in about $300,000 higher than anticipated. So with this resolution, we would move $84,399 in CDBG funds from the Spice Bush Swamp project and $250,000 from the Wolcott Park project and reallocate them to the Kennedy Park Bathhouse to complete this project. The project will include handicap accessibility, improving handicap accessibility, ADA compliant family changing rooms, upgrades to plumbing and electrical systems. And through you, Madam Mayor, we will pause there and turn it over to the council for any questions. We have our Director of Leisure and Human Services with us this evening, Ms. Rubino Turco, who's also available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Ledwith. So this was discussed in committee. Ms. Poland, do you want to?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think Mr. Manager summed up this resolution well. Unfortunately, can you hear me? Because it doesn't sound, yeah, okay. It's, unfortunately, a lot of the projects that we've been putting out to bid have been coming in at higher amounts than we had originally budgeted for. And this is, and also, unfortunately, we had 2 projects that we wanted to do that could not do. And so we were able to make lemonade out of those lemons and hope to have this project started relatively soon and completed in time for the summer.
Thank you so much. That was helpful. All right. Any other comments or questions? Okay, Ms. Blanks.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No questions, just a comment, and just happy to learn that this is going to be happening and happening real soon, because I know that park is utilized full capacity once it begins to get warmer. So I'm sure the community and the residents will welcome this. Long time coming. So thanks to the town and the committee for making this happen.
Thank you, Ms. Blanks, and I couldn't agree more. All right. Okay, voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, B, Mr. Sweeney.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, make a motion to adopt the resolution revising the schedule of fees for various recreational facilities.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Mr. Ledwith?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Before you is a resolution to revise the schedule of fees for a number of our recreational facilities, including Rockledge Golf Course, our premier 18-hole public course, Buena Vista, which is our 9-hole golf course, and then the Veterans Memorial Skating Rink. Annually, we do, as you know, we look at our fees and compare them to what is happening in neighboring communities. When we are recommending increases, this is something we do take very seriously. So we will look at what our year-over-year increases have been and compare proposed increases to neighboring communities. Without question, as we all know, inflation has had a tremendous impact on our ability to maintain the excellent facilities and offerings we provide our residents and to those who visit from outside of the town. Everything from fuel, grass seed, fertilizer costs and more, all of these modest increases are a result of these direct pressures. So at this time, I'd invite our director, Ms. Rubino Turco, to come up and maybe briefly give an overview of those increases. Thank you, Helen.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Rubino Turco.
Thank you, Mayor Cantor, and good evening. Helen Rubino Turco, Director of Leisure Services and Social Services. As Mr. Ledwith said, Leisure Services reviews our rates annually, but the Town Council does govern many of the fees that we charge for entry into our leisure services programs. And the three facilities that we're discussing this evening, one is at Rockledge, and here the greens fees would increase by $1. We analyzed all of our regional competitors, and we're well within the range of a competitive price. We also noticed in our research that the rate that we were charging for the season golf passes for seniors was quite low compared to everyone else. And we analyzed what a typical golfer would do, whether they played 2 days a week or 3 days a week for 26 weeks during the season. And we felt that by increasing it from $700 to $800 was fair, and it still brings their rate below many of our competitors. There's only one competitor that would charge less. So we felt that that was a reasonable reasonable option to increase the revenue. And at Buena Vista, we didn't change the annual the fee to participate on a daily basis or on an annual basis, but rather we just changed the discount pass that we offer. And at Veterans Rink, again, there's no change to the admission fee for residents there. We did tweak the non-resident rate a little to make it the same for adults and children. And we also eliminated a discount pass for 20 visits because no one was buying it. So we just simplified it to make it just for 10 passes, 10 entrances. And then we also increased the rate of renting the whole sheet of ice. And this will generate additional revenue for that facility. So overall, we're just looking to adjust some rates at 3 facilities that operate within the Leisure Services Fund. And that's a business model where we charge enough fees to cover our expenses. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rubino Turco. Are there any questions or comments? This was also Ms. Pullen?
Yep. So this also came before the Human and Community Services Committee. Thank you very much, Ms. Rubino Turco, for your explanations of how these rate proposals came to be. We are really proud of the recreational facilities that we have here in town offered to our residents and as well as non-residents alike. And we feel that these fee increases are reasonable, and I would recommend that we adopt this new structure.
Thank you, Ms. Pullen. Mr. Sweeney?
I would also be remiss to not thank Ms. Rubino Turco for taking the council's input during the committee process. There was a good conversation about how we were moving forward with some of the facilities, and really do appreciate what is before us today and what we're going to consider in the future. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sweeney. Any other comments, questions? Okay, I would just add, I do know also that a lot of our summer work comes from minimum wage workers, and that has also impacted, right, the scale of our, and so all of those things have an impact on how our facilities function, and so we need to make the adjustments necessary, so, and that factors it in. So, all right. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We will now go to O, Mr. Sweeney.
Don't want to do this. Madam Mayor, make a motion to receive a communication from Town Clerk S. LeBreau resigning as Town Council Clerk effective April 7th, 2023.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded, and yeah, this is a hard one for us, and she's not here and we will have plenty of time to talk about Essie and thank Essie. But this is a motion for Essie to, as you just heard, resign as a town clerk, and so this is a very demanding position. Essie has been stellar and is so well respected by all of her colleagues. We're just so grateful for all that she has done for us and continues to do and will do until her last day here. No question. So this is a motion to receive. Any other, we're going to have lots of time to talk about this, but any other comments? Okay, we are going to go to all those, well, just a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, we're all opposed, but we can't do anything about it. No. All right, any opposed? Motion carries. Now P. I will break this one. Nomination and appointment of Town Council Clerk effective April 10th, 2023 for a term ending January 1st, 2024. I am calling for nominations for the position of Town Council Clerk.
Madam Mayor, I nominate Leon Davidoff for Town Council Clerk.
Okay,
And with that, I just wanted to make a few remarks.
thank you.
It is an absolute pleasure for me to nominate, in great honor to nominate Mr. Davidoff for Town Clerk. I got to know Mr. Davidoff about 10 years ago when I was getting involved in politics, but really got to know him on a very contested probate judge race here in town, which was very divisive. But in those races, in those campaign rooms, you get to know people really well, and everyone gets to know your family too. And in that process, I got to know Alexi, Lonnie, and Becky very well, and got to basically serve hand in foot with Alexi and Leon in that. And then from there, because of who they are, they basically took me under their wing. And I remember Leon telling me, "I will do whatever I can to help you in town." And to this day, he has always done that. The first day I got on the council, he showed me the ropes, as we all are kind of still trying to keep up with him on zoning, brought me up to speed on how to participate in the meeting, all of the right where to sit, how to turn, which seat is the worst seat up here. But what really connected Leon and I is that we have a mutual friend that was his neighbors and my treasurer. And through that, we just became very close and became, pretty much family up here, as I think we all are up here, and we have our own connections. But Leon's background, where I also really just became really connected with him, and what makes him, really well fit for this job is, one, as I explained, his attention to detail, as I think some of us have painfully heard every night. He has a very distinct detail for zoning, but being a town clerk, and we have seen Ms. LeBreau talk about this, it is a very important thing to be very detail oriented in this job, and that is something Mr. Davidoff surely is. And then the other thing was getting to see him run his business firsthand, going in there, and being a part of a small business myself. There's a respect that you have for someone who shows up every day and it's theirs, and the responsibility of paying your employees, putting food on your table every day was something that always inspired me and shows me the dedication that not only did he have to this, but he put aside for the town. And he showed up to every meeting. He was always present. Whenever you needed Leon, he was there. Whenever you needed to get on the phone with him, he's always there. And with that, I think makes him immensely qualified for this position, where he knows where everything is hidden in this town, and knows exactly what to do. He is always the one checking not necessarily checking, but always checking with us about, are we making the right motion? Is this being properly seconded? Corporation Counsel, I think you missed an A or an I over here. But that's a trait that we want in the town clerk, and it is my immense honor to nominate him for this position. You will be missed, but we will have you for a few more months, and then we can pile on another time. But with that, Madam Mayor, I nominate Mr. Davidoff.
Mr. Davidoff is nominated. So the motion, actually, I will make the motion that Mr. Davidoff be appointed as town council clerk. Is there a second? Ms. Blanks, go ahead.
Where do I begin? Mr. Davidoff, it's been quite a few years back for me as well when we met. And that was when I was running for the Board of Ed. And then when I decided to transition over to town council, Mr. Davidoff told me, don't worry about anything, you'll be fine. I was a little nervous, and he was like, it's okay, you're going to be just fine. And his wife also reassured me that I'll be fine as well. But what I've learned over the years at this table and listening to Mr. Davidoff is that when he makes decisions, he makes sure that he has studied it and he's received all of the information. And then he will basically provide a response. But what I'm really fond of is that he makes sure to be on record and to cover everything and to provide education, not only for us, but for also the general public so that they understand the process and how things are done. And I really commend you for that, because only a knowledgeable person with your type of background understands why you're doing that. Many of us think, oh boy, here we go. But in listening to all of that, it's important that you do it, because as you say, it's going to be on the record. So it's historical. And many years from now, when students or children are studying this, they'll be able to see the information that's written and why it was written. And I'm sure those students are going to be based on that research that they do as well. So they'll always remember the significant role that Councilor Davidoff contributed to the council and the decisions that were made and why they were made. And we have to, there's something said for the length of time that you have been on the council. So you have really given your time, your talent, and your knowledge to this town, to the professional staff. I guess everyone's gone. And to all of the town council members, certainly those who have served well before me. But it is definitely my pleasure, and I'm humbled. I really have to say that I do get the chance to second this nomination for you to transition to clerk. And although I'm going to be sad, and like Mr. Sweeney said, we'll still have you for a few months, I'm sad that you're going to be transitioning from this table, but you're not going too far. So I can always look behind and receive some reassurance. But congratulations, and I thank you for your service.
Thank you, Ms. Blanks. So, motion's been made and seconded. Is there any other comments or discussion? Ms. Pullen?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. It is my honor to also support the nomination for Leon Davidoff to be West Hartford's town clerk. Leon and I met at the bus stop when our kids were at Aiken School together. And morning after morning for several years, we would spend a few minutes chatting with each other and all of the kids at the bus stop before we would both head off to work. It was during that time that I got to know Leon as a dad and as a neighbor and as a person and as a friend. His dedication to his family, his wife Lexi and his daughters Becky and Lonnie, was clear from the start. He was also always calm, which is not always easy in the mornings at the bus stop, and a good listener and willing to step in to help when needed. So we all know Leon is a nice guy, but what makes him even more qualified to be our town clerk is his experience. Over the past 23 years, he's demonstrated a commitment to the people of West Hartford, first on planning and zoning, and then on town council, where he served on every standing committee. He is without a doubt the local expert on many issues, and as the rookie at the table, I truly do appreciate that. He's also served on many, many other community service organizations like the PTO and the West Hartford Symphony and Fellowship Housing. His qualifications also extend beyond his service. He's a probate attorney and, as Deputy Mayor Sweeney mentioned, a small business owner. And in both of these roles, he works with people who are going through life transitions, like getting married or having a baby or executing an estate. All of these situations come with some stress, and he always handles them with perfect aplomb. He's the perfect person to head up the clerk's office, which deals with some of these same issues. Our town clerk is a custodian of public records, a communicator of public policy, an organizer of public business, and a recorder of the community's history, helping to smooth out how we run our town. Leon is committed to his family and to West Hartford, has a record of service for the right reasons, and has a thoughtful, practical approach to problem solving. There is no one more ready on day one than my friend Leon Davidoff, and I would ask all of my colleagues to support this nomination.
Thank you so much. Any other comments? Mr. Cortez?
I just want to say that Leon, since I met Leon during campaigning, he's always been a gentleman. He's always been there for me if I had any questions, and walk me through the process, especially being new. Whenever something big happened, I know the following day I can expect a call from Leon. He was always there. And then the other thing, we talk about experience. Experience is easy. You just, after time, we all can gain experience, But with Leon, a lot of people with experience know everything, but he knows the why. He's the one guy that knows the why, and you don't get that. With all the experience in the world, not everyone gets the why, and he does. And that's what makes him, the perfect person to fill in. And, I look forward to having you there. It's hard losing you here, but I know you're still a phone call away. And thank you for your commitment to the town, and thank you for stepping up.
Thank you, Mr. Cortez. Mr. Zdanowitz, and we're not saying goodbye. We're just.
Oh, I know. So I'm going to jump on the bandwagon here, and I'm just going to say I'm going to save my swan song till April. And I have a lot of information, and I hope you guys bring coffee and snacks because I'll be up here quite a long time. So just warn you ahead of time. I just wanted to give you that. And I will save all my comments because you're still here, and I don't want to say goodbye yet.
Thank you, Mr. Zdanowitz. And Mr. Winnick.
Yeah, I agree with Mark here. And what's going on here, Leon? You're not going far enough away. You're going to get the chair. We're going to go through that then. So it's too early for the goodbye, so I'm not ready for that yet. And so, no, I'm not doing the very nice speeches that we just heard, because you don't need it yet. We'll get that later.
Thank you,
But no, I'm not done.
Okay.
No. But yeah, I'm going to Leon. No, I'm going to go. Well, no, we got hours of this. No, but what I do want to say though is, for tonight is, we're doing something, a big responsibility in the rest of us to appoint a town clerk with shoes that will be very difficult to fill, and I think that. We're all taking this responsibility pretty seriously, and want to make sure this isn't just about your service on council and the help for all of us. It's that we think this is best for the town. We believe that, and certainly I believe that you will be really good at being a town clerk, and that with your knowledge of the town and your meticulousness and your dedication, you'll be great in that role. And so I'm very happy to join in this piece, and we'll talk about council stuff later. But it will be great to have you, within a stone's throw. At times we might do that, toss a pen. I'm going to ask you for help on my laptop, my pad here, so you might have to step in. So we're gonna have to work on that. But it is good to have to know that you won't be far, and that we've found somebody who can take on that impossible role of coming after Essie. So thank you for accepting and being willing to serve.
Thank you. Thank you all. You all had really great comments, and Ms. Fay, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to echo everybody's thoughts. I just have a question. If I understand the town clerk's role as a paid job, it's a full-time job. I would accept, you accept both most of your entities to the town clerk role.
I think that's a discussion for you to have with Leon. This is the appointment, this is our nomination for Leon, and, I'm sorry? It's been made and seconded already, so this is just, whether, you can make a vote or whatever.
But for the record, everybody's all precise about the record. I do believe this is important for taxpayers to know. Is he going to approach us from a full-time standpoint, or not? And I think that's very, very important.
I'm sure Leon will respond at some point, but right now, this is our nomination of Leon, and Leon is taking on the full-time job of being a town clerk, however he decides to manage. His other businesses will not interfere with his town clerk responsibilities, and he has assured us of that. And so we are feeling very comfortable and confident that we will be. But again, however personally he wants to discuss that with you, that's fine for you to have that discussion. Okay, so I am going to just close by saying that we have been so blessed and honored to have such incredible leadership and at this very, very important position with Essie, and there is no one that's more qualified right now to take to fill in. And I do know that Essie struggled with the decision to retire. There's a lot going on in her life, a relatively new grandma, and a lot of things that she needs to and wants to do in her life, and having Leon be the one to fill in. Not fill in, to take that position. Well, it will be filling until the end of the term because it's an elected position, so that's a point as well. But that she knows that her work is going to be honored, respected, and that he will do a fabulous job and take good care of us. So we are going to do a roll call vote here. So we will go, Ms. Khan. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I will begin with Councilor Blanks.
Yes.
Mayor Cantor.
Yes.
Councilor Cortez.
Yes.
Councilor Davidoff.
Recuse.
Councilor Fay. Councilor Poland.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sweeney.
Yes.
Councilor Winograd.
Yes.
And Councilor Zandanowits.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Khan. Now we will go to, congratulations, Leon, but you're with us for a while longer, so.
Does the record show that Ben actually agreed with me?
All right, we won't be for long. No. All right, over to reports for the town manager, Mr. Ledwood.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Our town manager's report can be found online. Begin the report with upcoming council business and meetings. We will have a Public Works Facilities and Sustainability Committee meeting on Thursday, February 2nd at 6 p.m. and a Finance and Administration Committee meeting on Monday, February 6th at 7 p.m. Both meetings will be virtual. The next town council meeting will take place on Tuesday, February 14th. Tecton, who everybody knows is our consultant for the center infrastructure project, will be holding an open house here in the Town Hall auditorium on February 2nd. This will be our second public workshop on street design for the West Hartford Infrastructure Master Plan, and it will be held on Thursday, February 2nd from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Town Hall Auditorium. The West Hartford Infrastructure Master Plan began in the summer of 2022 and is entering the concept design phase. As part of the study, the town invites you to participate in the second public workshop. This session will feature a presentation of the street design ideas for the town center, including a summary of public comments received as the project has evolved, before seeking direct public feedback in an open house session. Eversource announces its 2023 tree trimming plan for West Hartford. Trees are the #1 cause of outages during storms in Connecticut. Statewide data shows a continued need for regular tree maintenance in the face of drought, tree disease, and stronger storms. Planned tree work will begin this month. Eversource plans to trim trees along 67.8 miles of overhead electric distribution lines. 15.1 miles are along the backbone of the electrical grid. Eversource serves 28,953 customers in West Hartford. In 2022, 25% of all power outages were tree-related, impacting 3,760 customers. There is no cost to the resident. West Hartford's point of contact is Julian Pisciano. Sorry, Julian, if I got your pronunciation wrong. He's an Eversource arborist and can be reached at 860-306-6071. Again, this is all online. The 2023 Spring Summer Program Guide is out. It's on everybody's at everybody's seat, and the guide is now posted online. Posts on the Leisure Services website. You can page through the brochure online. Registration for all programs begins at noon on February 1st. Please review the pre-registration checklist on the website, which you can do in advance to help ensure your registration goes quickly and smoothly. Copies of the program guide are also at the library branches and at all Leisure Services facilities. JAFA's My Home Connecticut Property Tax Grant Program. Connecticut has been awarded approximately $123 million from the United States Department of the Treasury's Homeowner Assistance Fund program. This program in the state of Connecticut is known as My Home Connecticut and is being administered by the Connecticut Housing Finance Authority. The goal of My Home Connecticut is to provide assistance to eligible Connecticut homeowners who have experienced a COVID-19 related financial hardship. The assistance is meant to cure and or prevent mortgage and housing related delinquencies and foreclosure. The My Home Connecticut program offers eligible homeowners a one-time payment, up to 12 months of forward payments, or a combination of both for real estate property taxes. Financial awards may also be used to pay an arrearage total overdue amount if there is one. The allocation will be up to $50,000 per eligible Connecticut resident assisting with property taxes starting with the October 1st, 2018 grand list. Distribution of the funds would be made to the municipality regarding tax payment on behalf of an eligible resident. To apply, visit www.chfa.org/myhomect to learn more and to apply. You can also complete a short online questionnaire to see if you may be eligible. And that concludes our town manager's report this evening. Be happy to answer any questions related to the report or any other questions that the council had, through you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Ledwith. Are there any questions for the town manager? Seeing none, we thank you very much, Mr. Ledwith. We'll go to Corporation Counsel. Mr. Dodge, any?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I did just want to take a moment, I think she's gone, I told her to go home for the night, but to thank Deputy Corporation Counsel Verano for her work on the real estate transactions that were on the agenda tonight. I can't tell you how much our office benefits from her expertise and her background in real estate. Sometimes when we have outside counsel, I think they're learning more from Gina than maybe we're getting from that, which is not a criticism of our outside counsel. It's just I realize how that came across. But It's always a pleasure to watch her work on these things because she really does have such a reservoir of knowledge. So thank you, Gina, if you are listening, for your work on that. Madam Mayor, I have no formal report, and we have no need for an executive session this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Dodge. Any questions for Corporation Counsel? Thank you, and I couldn't agree more. We have good hands with Attorney Verano, and she counsels us very, very well through these transactions, so much appreciated. All right, announcements. Donation drive for Ukraine is underway. Please consider donating high-protein snacks like beef jerky, electronic hand warmers, men's thermal underwear, sweatshirts, parka jackets, winter hats and socks, waterproof gloves, power banks to charge devices, no rinse bathing wipes, and tourniquets. Collection boxes are located at all 3 libraries and in the town hall lobby now through February 11th. We are really being asked to help and support this drive. So join hashtag NOH8 movement. West Hartford Pride presents hashtag NOH8 movement against discrimination and bullying of all kinds in West Hartford. Add your face to the fight for equal human rights. They will hold an open photo shoot at Playhouse on Park on Monday, January 30th from 6 to 8 p.m. in conjunction with their production of Indecent. For more information, visit the campaign website, NOH8campaign.com. The tickets are on sale for Indecent, which runs from January 25th to February 26th at Playhouse on Park, and go to their website for more information. St. Patrick's Day Parade fundraiser. 2 West Hartford residents have been chosen to represent our town in this year's St. Patrick's Day Parade on March 11th. Ed Carr has been selected as West Hartford's marshal, and Eric Feeney has been chosen as the honoree. They're 2 incredibly well-deserving residents, and so happy that they will be recognized at a reception and fundraiser on Saturday, January 28th at 6:30 p.m. at the Town Hall Auditorium. The event is BYOB, and admission is $25 per person. And then Summer 2023 internship program. The Playhouse Theater Group is accepting applications for this internship in a wide range of disciplines, and it's designed specifically to open the door to college theater artists and emerging professionals, and give them an opportunity to get hands-on experience as ensemble members in a nurturing and collaborative environment. Applications should be in by March 10th, and candidates will be asked to interview or audition. Dates of the 10-week program are from Monday, June 12th to Sunday, August 20th. For more information, visit playhousetheateracademy.org. And Mr. Cortez, I was going to give you the West Hartford, the food drive information. So why don't you do that, and anything I need to add, I will.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. West Hartford United Methodist Church, located on 1358 New Britain Avenue, continues to have a food drive for the remainder through February, if I'm not mistaken.
It says through March.
Through March. We have something else coming out as well. And again, it supports the West Hartford Food Pantry. And as I stated before, what I like about this is that, when the town hall building is closed, we do have a box outside. So it's accessible at all times. And, it's just like an extension, especially if you're in that Elmwood area and you have non-perishable food items, you drop it off there and we'll make sure it gets where it needs to get to over here.
Thank you, Mr. Cortez, and I appreciate all that you and your church does to support residents in West Hartford. And they need, this is some of the items that they're looking for: baked beans, canned fruit, applesauce, pasta and sauce, cold cereal, canned chicken and tuna, rice, and peanut butter. So any and large 1-pound packages and 16 to 18-ounce jars they ask for as well. So if you have those either in your pantry or while you're at the store, it would be much appreciated. Oh, yes, Mr. Cortez.
And most importantly, check the expiration dates. We cannot take stuff that has been expired. So that's very important.
Great point. Thank you. All right, any other announcements? Okay, and with that, we'll make a motion to adjourn. Is there adjourn? Is there any objection? Seeing and hearing no objection, we are adjourned. Thank you. Good night.